Gaffer, a tough game against Celtic, although defeat on the road. Were you happy with the effort from the players?
Yeah, I think there was a lot to be positive about, but you can never be happy about getting beat. I felt the first half there was a lot of positives. Never started the second. Well, Celtic probably started the second half a little bit better. I don't think we actually had an entry into their box, and then we've kind of lost our shape for being up the park, and that leads to the first goal. So we've come out of our shape to be a wee bit more aggressive in the press. Ball comes through Jerome, Dan Finlayson wins a flick, and then we go and press. We lose a wee bit of structure, and then at that point the game becomes difficult, and then it was just about trying to kind of get boys in the park, be a wee bit more attack-minded, come out of the shape we were in to a more attack-minded shape, but that kind of opened up the gaps, left us a wee bit exposed. But I think there was a lot to like about the game as well from me for a performance side. Obviously the results disappointing, but I thought there was some decent performances, like yours. Wee Sammy's kind of been thrown in at the deep end, and he's kind of held his own. Andy Winters was asked to do a job that he's not accustomed to doing, just because of Shane coming off with a muscle injury. So, I think those boys got thrown in at the deep end at Parkhead, but they actually came out in a fairly good place.
Yeah. And it's never easy playing at Celtic Park, but one of the key moments that particularly the media's picked up on was Jerome's save in the first half. Yeah. Is that something you kind of expect from Jerome?
Yeah, we've got to do a wee bit better in the initial phase ourselves. We've got to defend our back post better, but when we can't and we don't, I think then you're looking at your goalkeeper coming up with big saves, and he definitely came up with a big save. So I think it was him and Shamal. Shamal had one off the line at St Mirren, didn't he? And Jerome, I think the two of them had, like, one's a Livy keeper, one was, but it was a very, very good save. But I kind of see it every day in training, so it's kind of no new to us. But it was a big, big save, and I think Jerome will now get the exposure for playing in the top flight. But we're lucky to have him.
And we welcome Hearts to the home of Set Fair this weekend, getting back home, playing home advantage. What are you expecting from a Derek McInnes Hearts team?
Very much what Dale's always done when it's been Kilmarnock or Aberdeen. He knows the job inside out. He's one of the best managers in Scotland, and he's now back to a big team in Scotland, so they've got vast resources, they're a very well run club, and they've got a top manager, so it's going to be a difficult game of football.
And Derek's gone in, had a good start to the season. Hearts are bringing a big travelling support with them. What would it mean to have a sold out home stand in front of them?
Well, I think that's got to be the push from the club. We've got to be promoting that as much as we possibly can, but we need people to kind of get behind the club and show that by turning up to these games. So if we could sell out the main stand, that would be fantastic, but I think that's got to be a short-term aspiration, not a long-term aspiration. It's got to be a short-term ambition, aspiration, that we get more bums and seats in the home stand. Hearts fans are coming out in their numbers. It's probably going to be the biggest Hearts support that's travelled to Livingston in a long time. So it'd be good to try and get as many Livingston fans as we can in the stadium.
Mm-hmm. And we unfortunately lost Shane at the weekend when he had to come off injured on Saturday. Is there any update on his injury or any of the other injuries?
No, Shane isn't it's not a massively bad one. It's not one we need to send for an MRI at this stage, so that's always a good sign when you come in the 48 hours later that the physio's not asking for an MRI for the player, because generally that's a bad sign. So Shane's one that Andy feels he can manage, but obviously we'll need to keep on top of the kind of progression on a daily, every 2 days basis, and then we'll take it from there. But I don't think Shane's going to be too far away, but he missed a lot of the end of last season. He's missed a full pre-season with Livingston, so this is kind of what you expect to happen with the muscle injuries with boys that haven't done a proper pre-season for various reasons. They're the ones that are probably going to be a wee bit more susceptible to muscle injuries as the season starts, especially August.
And so in the week, Sean moving down south, is there any other movements either in or out of the building planned?
Maybe one or two. I think there's Miles was talking to a club. Miles has played the last 18 months away from Livingston, and hopefully Miles can find himself something to get back playing football, because it's no ideal when you've got a player no playing football and he's not really got a future at the football club, so it makes it difficult at that point. So hopefully we can find something for Miles between Miles' agent and Chipper and myself. We can hopefully try and get Miles back playing football somewhere, and maybe one more for the first team dressing room, and then I'm not so sure. I have been looking at various positions, but it's quite fluent, and we'll just need to take it day by day. I'm not just going to go out and spend money just for the sake of spending money. I'm not going to go out and just bring somebody in for the sake of bringing somebody in. Anyone that's going to come into the group at this point has to make the group a lot stronger, but they're probably got to be one that you would consider a starting 11, not one that's going to be a part of the kind of match day squad, the numbers of 20, 18 outfield. So you're looking at anybody that is going to come in at this stage has to be one that we feel is a really, really strong option.
And Lewis Smith and Tayengi were handed new deals. How important is it to be able to offer these extensions to you?
Well, I think with the board now in place, it's given us a wee bit of a better structure upstairs, and historically what generally would have happened with these types of players is they'd ran their contract down and kind of said bye at the end of the season. So we've managed to get a wee bit of buy-in from both players. Both players have accepted new terms. So for me, that's the only way, and this is the start of it, hopefully. For me, this is the only way that the club is going to progress, is by managing to keep hold of our better players, and tying them into kind of longer term deals, so we don't keep losing 4 or 5 of our best players every season. You've got to keep regurgitating that and keep recycling that and try to bring players in. So I think it's vitally important. I know sometimes fans can look at it and it might not come across as that exciting when you're tying players in the building down to slightly longer terms, but I think it's what's best for Livingston is trying to do this. So I'm really happy that Tete and Lewis have committed their future at the football club. Ideal.
And then one last one, just a fan question. Does David Martindale have any pre-match routines before a match?
No. Well, yeah, you could probably say up in the morning, take the dog out, but I'm not really superstitious. I don't really do anything different. Get up, take the dog out, which I would most days anyway, but I normally do that after my work opposed to before my work. So Saturday, Sunday, get up early doors and take the dog a walk, get a coffee, and then back, get a bit of breakfast and come into football or head to wherever the meeting point is. So I've nothing really exciting to tell you there. I'm pretty creature of habit, so to speak. It's fairly simple routine.